Hi, I'm Charles Addison, Director of Made in the Midlands, and welcome to MIM TV, the official TV channel for Made in the Midlands. I'm joined today by Phil Stanley, Director of TWP Group. Phil, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Phil, tell us about TWP.
TWP is a group of companies that we've brought together over the last 20 years. There's Threeway Pressings, which manufactures press components for virtually every sector in the market, from multi-stage progression tooling all the way through to single action press work as well. We also do a lot of spin riveting, spot welding, assemblies and tube manipulation within that group. And that's the presswork side. On the other side, we've got teaser injection mouldings, where we go up to 450 tons on injection moulding, and we produce injection mouldings for virtually every business in the marketplace. The rest of the brands have been created over the years, and what they do is they have a great synergy for Threeway and Teaser, because they're the two main manufacturing hubs. And what we do then is we manufacture all the frames, all the tube manipulation, welding, fabrication for Bull Barrow, where we manufacture over 60 different products, and we deal with over 250 garden centres throughout the UK, as well as doing drop ship for around about 20 different companies. So some of the big large retailers, for instance. So that works very well for us in that sort of sense, because we've grown our own industry within our industry, and we've also then created a brand which is there as well. Homebase is another example. We used to manufacture the products in China about 7-8 years ago. We now brought that back into the UK. We've made all the machines to produce those parts, and again, it's the only anchorage system in the country, in the world if I'm honest, that can be used and reused, and the big event people use that, as well as big retailers and such as well.
What was the rationale then behind going through having several different brand profiles in different industries?
The rationale was trying to be control of what we do and how we do it, and creating brands. So instead of manufacturing completely for everybody else, and 2008 was a classic example of that. And what we've done then is created our own brands, created our own internal wealth, if I can call it, by producing these brands. Patterson's Photographic, again, 90% of the product is injection moulded. It's all assembled online now at the on site, and it's distributed throughout the world. You know, so it's brought us into many factors of what we do very well at Threeway. We do a lot of good press work, we do a lot of good mouldings, and we've just put the synergies together then to create those brands.
We've seen obviously with firms who are more in the traditional automotive press work particularly, go for a sort of feast and famine models of growth, and obviously automotive is growing at the moment, but how are the other markets operating? I mean, how Bull Barrow, for instance, where does that get sent to as a distributor?
Bull Barrow, we, as I say, we distribute to over 250 garden centres throughout the UK. The object there is they can have any one of 60 different products. What the whole object there was to allow the small little garden centres to be able to compete with the big retailers, and instead of them having 50 or 60 or one product, they can pick and mix, and they can have one of 7 different colours. They can have a double wheelbarrow, a single wheelbarrow, and it just gives those people in different areas to be able to pick and choose as to what nature of products they have, due to the fact that some areas are very much equestrian orientated, some are very much farming, some are very much in the agricultural side. So the farmers know what they need, and the people know what they need as to what to do to cater for their markets.
But it means that the business can very much take ownership of its future. I mean, that sort of holy grail of making product that goes straight to a consumer. I mean, how did you get into Homebase?
Homebase was again through agents. We used to do the Glee shows for the last 5 years, where we used to display, and that was business to business, which is great. It allowed us to meet the buyers as such, get involved with the buyers, allow the buyers to come and touch and feel our products in the right way, to sort of say, yes, this is a fantastic British made product, and it can be distributed. But it also gives the buyers options as well, because, you know, where else can you go and buy 60 different products of the same style? And dropship now has allowed us to do that, because traditionally a lot of people can't get very large 300 litre tub barrows into the car. So what we now do is it gets dropped direct to their door, and they're able now to have stuff delivered straight to the door, because with the internet revolution, we've jumped on that bandwagon to then say, right, we need to be proactive and reactive to those markets.
Has that been a difficult learning curve? Because obviously a lot of this is away from traditional markets and the done things. So we're talking about online shops, e-commerce. distribution channels. I mean, how easy has that process been for the
It's been a very challenging process because obviously independent garden centres are very they're the kings of their own castle, aren't they? And they're very demanding. They're 9 times out of 10 run by a family, very tight knit community, and it's changed the way that we manufacture and the way that we do things. And that's why we partly set up Threeway as a manufacturing base for presswork and automotive products, teaser for all the injection mouldings, and then in one of our middle units we then have that solely as a distribution unit, and that then caters for all that. So everything's made under MRP, put through the system, goes into the middle unit, and then distributed and dispatched from there. But it's had its challenges as well because it's made us go into different fields in terms of our social media has become very poignant for us, from Facebook to Twitter to LinkedIn. It's made us very much, as a manufacturing company, brand aware, and it's brought us into that era, which has been quite fascinating, really, because normally you sit there and say, we're manufacturers, we don't put our head above the parapet, we just keep making. But what it's done now is made us look at ourselves commercially, look at ourselves within, and say, right, what can we do now to become more appealing to the wider world in that sort of sense?
You talked about the wider world, and some of the products you've got within this brand portfolio are made abroad and have been made abroad in the past. So how has TWP been able to commercialise that effectively?
The way we've done it is, Spirobase is a classic example on that. We used to all the anchors were manufactured in China at the time, and that was great for a period to get us going and get us into the marketplace and get our foothold in, which was good. What that now did, though, is as demand increased, we had 2 options. We either start shipping more and more from China on a longer lead time with the added cost as well, or we looked at ourselves and said, right then, what can we now make in the UK and how can we do that? So I did a massive evaluation on our manufacturing of all our ground anchors. And if you look at our website on the video, you'll be able to see that the products are now manufactured in-house. We've designed our own machines, we've purposely made our own machines, and everything's welded and manufactured now under that. That also gives us the added bonus of being able to put an ISO 9000 badge on it as well, which then gives people confidence in what we're making. Given
what we've seen this morning in the news about the pound hitting an all-time low as a result of Brexit fears, obviously not having to import these products is advantageous, but what is the opportunity going forward for manufacturing companies in a post-Brexit environment?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, really, because the pound's at a 13-year low, as you said, Charles. It's 33% down as such, to where it was, and I think it's given us the scope to move forward. I think Theresa May is a very cool, calm, collected lady. She's impressed me in the way that she's starting to handle things and take things on. I think we need Europe and the world to understand that the UK is a good, strong manufacturing base. We still have the skills, we still have the ability, we still have the belief, and we're still passionate about manufacturing. And it's allowed us to export more and more at the moment. And we export, for instance, Patterson's Photographic, we're the last man standing in darkroom. We export that product all over the world, to China, America, Australia, Europe, as well as the Far East. And we've just seen that grow year on year now. We've just revamped all the Bembo 1 and 2 tripods and the Trekker tripods. We're now able to manufacture tripods cheaper than we can buy them from China, because we've re-evaluated the whole system and they're all made in the UK, and we're allowing people then to go and sell those products as a UK branded product, which now becoming a very niche market for those goods.
Well, it's a formidable success story for the company. Obviously, Threeway Pressings, as it was now TWP, one of the sort of founding members of Made in the Midlands as well. What going forward do you think has been the biggest reason for you guys being part of the community?
I think you, Charles, if I'm honest. I remember many years ago when you used to come and bash on my table and say, Phil, I need you to become part of this and become part of this community and this group. And that's been a fantastic opportunity for us, because it's made us as manufacturers put our head above the parapet and become more involved and more engaging in social media. The breakfast mornings have been fantastic. They've allowed us to go and see other companies and have an insight into other areas where we normally wouldn't do that. And for instance, Filter Mist, we went around there the other day, and that was just fantastic to see. All of a sudden, they're not just blowing it out the door, they're actually putting the product back into the machine and recycling all the materials. But it's all made in the UK and exported all over the world. And for me, the benefit is just so rewarding to see that so many companies are still manufacturing in the UK. We're still strong, we're still positive, and we need to get that belief in us to say, yes, we are good manufacturers and we can still do that.
I think we look back at the best event of the year, the Breakfast Club, I think was held at TWP. We had over in excess of 100 companies in attendance. Yeah. A shot of port to start the morning off as well.
I think I shocked Ilona when she says, Phil, how many do you want? And I said 100, and she says, really? And for me, it was the biggest shop window I could have for Midland manufacturers to come to our property and view what we did as a business. You know, it was good to see them. 105 people, I believe, came for all different sectors of the market, which was absolutely fantastic. But it was very hard for me at the time to say, right, we just do presswork, we just do moulding, we just do this, we just do that. So what we did is we laid everything out in the factory so everyone could pick and touch, pick up the brands, see what we did, from presswork, moulding work to finish assemblies to wheelbarrows. And it was a credit to everybody in Made in the Midlands and a fantastic community spirit to bring everyone together.
Fantastic. Phil, that was absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming to the studio.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
In continuing our series on meeting Britain's manufacturers going forward, if you'd like to be part of a future show, please contact my team. But thank you very much. And that was TWP.
Thank you.